Recent studies by the Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change estimate 25% of greenhouse gas emissions are from farming and agriculture.
Well, food sources in the coming years will be under increased scrutiny to be effective stewards of the environment. So imagine a farm where you don't need to water and you don't need to fertilize. That would be the farm of the future.
Well, that concept took meteorologist Jacob Wyckoff to the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Martha's Vineyard.
Hi there.
How are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Definitely.
Dan,
Jacob. Nice
all right.
To meet you.
This is Liam. Welcome aboard.
It's not often that you get to travel on a boat to visit a farm, but that's exactly what we did.
It's a 1978 Boston Whaler that was really beautiful. Center console right here and the railing all around it that we gutted for an oyster farm.
And so you've taken this beautiful boat.
It's like, it's like taking a Corvette and turning it into a dump truck. That's basically what we've done.
Dan Martino is part owner of Cottage City Oysters. As a former photojournalist for the Discovery Channel and National Geographic, he made a move from Houston, Texas to Martha's Vineyard to open his business.
Whalers are the Unsinkable boat, but it has a V-hull, so we're able to farm in weather that most people wouldn't. In
the Titanic was also unsinkable too.
Right. I'm not claiming this is unsinkable. Today it will be unsinkable.
Cottage City Oysters operates the only open ocean farm in New England. Our first stop, Lagoon Pond, to see some baby oysters.
Off we go.
Their baby oysters spend their first 7 months in the nursery before heading out to the ocean. Cottage City Oysters is a three-dimensional farm, a system of farming that maximizes space using the entire water column.
Your traditional farming is a two-axis farming, X and Y axis. With the water, we have a vertical Z axis that we can farm. So you're not only flat farming, you're vertically integrated farming. So we'll have our bottom cages sitting on the bottom on the XY axis, and then we have seaweed suspended above it and growing down. So it's more productive per square mile, per square acre. You can get a lot more food out of a smaller footprint.
You can't see it.
Right.
We're on your farm right now and you can't even see it, right?
Right. Yeah, that's the challenge of it.
The oysters that Cottage City raises filter 50 gallons of water per day. That's their job, to eat seaweed and phytoplankton.
Oysters are doing a good thing by eating that phytoplankton, turning it into protein and cleaning the water.
What we are doing is regenerative, sustainable, and really helping the water in terms of absorbing carbon and taking carbon out of the water, which benefits ocean acidifications.
Greg Martino, Dan's brother and the other owner of Cottage City Oysters.
And to learn that you don't do anything, it's zero input, no fresh water, no food. It's literally harnessing Mother Nature and allowing it to do what it does. It was that moment for me to just say, this is something that I want to be a part of. It's not only helping the environment, it's not only challenging, but it's also a green business. It's something that I definitely want to be a part of.
The reality is that we don't have enough fresh water to feed the amount of people that are coming up on the planet. That's the reality. The other reality is global warming, climate change is real. I have little kids, you have little kids. They're facing a future that's really uncertain. Farming the oceans, we don't use fresh water, we don't have any food inputs. It's extracting protein and nutrients out of the ocean in a way that we can eat. That's sustainable, that's how you solve problems.
The Cottage City Oysters farm is considered small, only about 2 acres, but it raises over 600,000 oysters per year. But it's not just oysters. The farm also grows seaweed for consumption.
There's some seaweeds that have 25% protein in them. They're superfoods that really we haven't even, we're just discovering and haven't incorporated into our diets yet.
That's edible. Ovalactuca is the Latin name. It's good.
Good for us and good for livestock. Recent studies have suggested supplementing just 2% of a cow's diet with seaweed could reduce its methane emissions by 80%. That's a huge reduction in a dangerous greenhouse gas.
We're going to be stressing the land more and more. It's going to get to a point that we're not going to be able to extend certain resources to produce proteins. So to have a protein source that is zero input and ultimately sustainable, I think it is the future.
It's the most sustainable protein farming on the planet, without a doubt. And that's really the reason we got into it and why it should hopefully continue to grow and solve the problems that we're facing.
Are you a farmer or a fisherman?
So we are farmers. Oyster farmers are farmers. We're not fishermen. We get our seed, we plant it, and we tend it, and then we harvest.
Off the coast of Martha's Vineyard, I'm meteorologist Jacob Wyckoff.
Photographer Eric Rosario, and on that too, beautiful. It may be somewhat surprising, but the protein in one oyster is comparable to the protein in one egg.
And the brothers tell Jacob that their farm will max out at a couple million oysters raised per year.